Hey, I'm over at my mom's house today. I'm going to be putting up these SmaiTytan Permanent Outdoor Lights on her front of her house. So it's going to go across the porch and across the rest of the front of the house. So let's get this thing unboxed. I'll show you what's inside and the initial, information about the lights, and then we'll get them put up. Full disclosure, SmaiTytan did send these free of charge to me, but I have a lot of integrity, so you will get my fair and honest review. All right, let's go ahead and get these unboxed. So the first thing we have is the manual. Probably don't need that too much because I've put up several of these permanent outdoor lights. I'm going to grab the smaller box next because I believe this set has something I'm interested in because of my install. I'm going to be putting these up in my mom's house, and she doesn't have the internet at her house that she uses frequently. She just uses it on her phone, so she doesn't have a separate internet plan from an ISP. So this remote is very important in this situation versus a situation where it'd be connected to the internet all the time and you control it through Google or Amazon Assistant or whatever else. So that's a really important one for this installation use case. We have the power supply, we have the on-off controller, and it appears that we have an extension here as well. I will say this is a different connection type than several of the other brands that I put up. Usually there's three like pegs and socket spots on the connectors, but this one does have four. And then we have the, screws and some normal hardware type things in here. So let's set this aside and grab out the main box in here, which is going to be the lights. And they have it in like an electromagnetic bag, which is the first I've seen that. At least that's what it looks like to me. I'll get these opened up and plugged in and let you see what they look like in the theater here. All right, I got these plugged in. You can see it's this orangish red color here. I'm going to grab the controller here that's in line with the string and change some colors here so you can see what that looks like. So if I tap that, I can get this rainbow effect, and you can see how bright and vibrant the colors are. And if we hit it again, it's a tracking type light sequence. Guessing this is like a white. Okay, it looks like it was a warm to cool white light, and then goes through some other colors there. And we have just some other patterns they have. So I'm going to switch it over and look at the white colors to see what we can achieve from the remote control. Now we got them paired with the remote, and I'll let you see what this looks like. So if I hit the RGB, we can cycle through some colors. So here's a green color. This looks like it might be their white, and it's actually pretty good. I was concerned a lot about the rainbowing at the edges of the lights because I know some of the brands you don't get the real pure white light out of them. So this one actually doesn't look too bad. So we'll have to see what this looks like once we get these up. So quick initial impressions before we get these installed. It's really odd that there's no battery in the remote. It looked like it was supposed to be there, but it wasn't. The lights are all in one big string, which is probably fine for the permanent install, but it adds a couple of issues if you had to cut from one section of the roof to the other, or even during the install. I could see this being a problem. I'm gonna have to lug around the whole set rather than just a third of the set at a time for a 50-foot install like some of the other brands. So a couple of concerns there. They do have the brackets already on the lights for the screws. I've found the screws to be totally pointless on the permanent outdoor lights if you're doing a good job of cleaning the soffits. Just using the 3M seems to be good. These 3M might be a little bit smaller, so I'll have to consider if I need to use the screws or not, or maybe strategically use some screws. I think it says to use it on every light, but that seems to be a little overkill, and I'm not even sure if they actually provided enough screws to do that. So that's an odd request for them to have that for the install. But without further ado, let's go install these. All right, I'm going to start by hiding this in the corner of the vinyl siding. And once I get this other light up, once I get the light up, it'll hold it better. So put that there, and I'm going to put this light on this one. I'm going to put the first light right here and put the second light right in here. So I'm going to get these cleaned off. You apply rubbing alcohol to the rag and then rub vigorously for about 30 seconds on each spot. Make sure you get it nice and clean. This is where I see most people failing installing the permanent outdoor lights by themselves, is they don't clean the surface properly. And then I have a template. So I'm going to pull the back off and use the template and then press firmly for 30 seconds. And the second light, I'm going to pull the back off and put it with the template where I want it. Press it against for 30 seconds. And then I'm going to take some of the extra wire here and see if I can put it right back in here to hold it. Looks like that'll stay there. And we're going to proceed across. I continued with the same process, and what you do is you just keep on going through that process of measuring it out, cleaning it off, and then pressing the sticker up against for a good 30 seconds. Make sure you have a good firm stick, and then moving on to the next light. All right, I got all the lights up now, so I'm going to walk you through how I configured everything and ran the wiring and give you an up close of the install. I plugged it into this outlet that actually has an old school timer in the basement, so it could be controlled this way since my mom doesn't have Wi-Fi, and then ran down to the controller and then across this way. And here you can see it ran all the way across behind the bushes. Just give you an idea of where we're at. So it ran behind those bushes all the way over the corner. This set of lights isn't quite as agile with all the lights in one string, so I ended up duct taping over some of the lights and then tucking others behind. But you can see, when they're lit, you can definitely see these. Might need to tape over those, or do something where we turn those off in certain scenes or something like that. But ran it up here behind the corner. From the corner, it comes around and then proceeds down the entirety of the soffit, because I actually started at the very end over there on the porch, knowing that I wanted all the excess to come over here and be hidden. So from a distance, you definitely can't see that, it's hidden anywhere. It just runs across the top. Now I'm going to jump into the app and show you what it's like in the app. And I will say, this is probably the area I'm most disappointed with these SmaiTytan lights here. You can edit these by single light or by the full string. So the all indicator right here shows that it's the full string, and if I hit that, it changes it over to single. And at that point, I can pick a color and I can apply it across just those. I can change the brightness and apply it across other lights. It's pretty easy for the individually controlled light bulbs here. The one negative I see is there's no way to turn the light bulb completely off. The best you can do is down to 1%. So you put it on white at 1%. I guess it's pretty dim, but I'm not sure it's really good enough. And ironically, this is probably the highlight of the app. When we get over to the scenes, I did a DIY, but the ones that aren't DIY, I wasn't really impressed with. I cycled through them, but there's really nothing here that I think is outstanding. It's really hard to see, what you're going to get with these. Nothing like some of the other brands where, it's very descriptive, very clear what you're going to be seeing when you pick a particular scene. So not overly thrilled with this. I guess the remote helps a little bit. And in our situation, it's probably a situation where I'll set it up, a couple different times a year, and then we'll just let it run based on the manual timer that's in the basement, and we won't really have those types of issues because we don't need to use the app a lot. But if you're relying on the app, this is not the set of lights for you. We aren't going to be using it with any of these services, but I do want to call out that it does support Google Home, Amazon Assistant, who shall not be named, SmartThings, as well as IFT. So if you're looking at connecting with any of those, that is available. So here you can see the Christmas lights with red and green alternating the bulbs, and you can see on the screen how you can select the individual bulbs and select the colors for each with any of the colors you can see below. We can also do solid colors. So if we flip over from single to all, I can select a color and change the whole batch all at once. I can pick this Christmas scene, and it goes across with white, red, and green. They also have different scenery, so we can do the Flower Harbor. This is the Iceland Blue, Glacier Express. And I'm going to jump over to life and show you what some of these are. So we can do game and look at that one and get those different colors. We can look at the party, trend, and we can go to festival and pick Valentine's Day or Halloween. And I can go in here and change the colors. So I can add, the green, and we can add red. So let me make that one red. And maybe that's all we want. We just want red and green. And we can do flash, and I can save that. Just call this one Christmas, and you can see what you get out of that one. And maybe that one's a little too intense here, because I think it might be for me. So I'm going to go in and edit that one, and I'm going to slow the speed down and save it and see what we get for that one. And maybe that's still a little too fast. And we can make them a green color here. And then I'm going to switch it over to single so that I can pick the red color. And then I'll just go every other one and give that nice red and green colors. And there you can see a lot of different options with these lights. Maybe not quite as many as some of the other ones, a little more streamlined, but definitely can get the job done and give you the nice holiday festive feel. So with all that out of the way, it's time for my final thoughts. So how do these lights compare to some of the other brands that I've looked at? Well, I would say Asaham is definitely the leader. I think that, there's head and shoulders above the others in a lot of, items, whether it's the app, they're comparable to the best, the light quality, definitely comparable to the best, and also having that warm white, cool white, setup is much better on the Asaham. When you look at the SmaiTytan, they are better than the Govee if you need that remote control. So if you're in a situation like this where there's no Wi-Fi available at the house, make that consideration for the remote control. If you don't need that remote control, definitely skip these. These are really limited on the market, I would say, and not the one I would recommend if you're planning on utilizing the app. So with that being said, make sure you check out this Govee video.